Well, wherever you go, there you are. Anybody has been consistently watching my content, there's one thing you know. It's that no matter what the topic is, no matter what the stakes are, I have no filter. Whatever's in my mind comes out. Mostly this is not good. Sometimes a little honesty can be healthy. But when you're as honest as I am, it's a disease. And no good results from it. All of the things that you think out there in the world, they're on my tongue. And then you're in your ear. I don't have the so-called decency or the couth or the social acumen to rein that shit in when it matters the most. And so today, I am once again unemployed. I didn't get fired. I don't know if it'll be noted that I was fired. And there's that honesty again. I really don't give a shit if it's recorded that I was fired. Because at the end of the day, I had my fill, I think last week. I don't know. I put in a 2-week notice. My last day was going to be the 17th of this month. So, what, next Thursday or Friday? I was there. And I foolishly allowed myself to be talked out of it. And I guess the manager never turned in my 2 weeks notice. So it kind of just went on the back burner, and you know, the whole thing went into suspended animation, whatever. Analogies, metaphors, whatever. And I stayed on, which was a mistake. I liked the guys that I worked with. I liked the work that I was doing. For the most part, 99.95%. I liked the customers too. It was very satisfying. The responsibility was very heavy. It was stressing me the fuck out. I'm not going to lie and pretend that that wasn't a factor, that I wasn't constantly on the verge of buckling. I made mistakes aplenty. Most of them were you would chalk up to like me being new. I was less than a month in. I didn't know any of this stuff and had done none of this prior. So there would be mistakes made, yes. And then there were mistakes that I could have avoided because of character defects, issues with my memory. You know, I'm not on disability because I'm pretty, or I wasn't on disability because I was pretty. I have a glitch. That's known to the world. That's known to Uncle Sam. People are aware of the fact that I have a glitch. It's not a kind of glitch that would make me harmful in society per se. Well, physically perhaps. Emotionally, I'm quite harmful. I can really do damage to social circles and peer groups. I can offend people. My phone fell asleep. I just want to make sure I'm still recording. I say things that aren't always appropriate. So, I mean, I do harm there. It's not like hate-oriented, like I just hate everybody. It's not like that at all. Generally, I don't hate much of anybody. I'm not a very negative person that way, although I've been accused many times of being very pessimistic, very cynical. I just consider myself to be honest. And if I don't see a lot of hope, then I'm not going to pretend like a lot of people do. You know, a lot of optimism that people attribute to like, oh, I'm just a positive person. It stems from untruth. Not necessarily lies, because lies are untruth with intent. Sometimes untruth stems from you just not being able to be honest to yourself. And so you're not really fundamentally lying because you're not telling untruth on purpose. You're just not being honest with yourself because maybe you don't know how. Maybe you're afraid to. Maybe you associate being truthful with yourself as some kind of abuse from your past or relationships you were in. So I think that honestly, notions like altruism and optimism and stuff like that, and we're getting totally off topic here, are stemming from untruth. Maybe not lies, but untruth nonetheless. Coming back to where I fucked up today, and I just walked off the job. Although, honestly, I don't think that my walking off the job was the fuck up that I made. I think that reducing screen brightness to extend recording time. Sorry. I think that where I fucked up today was that I walked off on the spot instead of just adhering to my initial 2-week notice, because I could have put in 2 weeks of best effort, been a team player, made my employer proud of my efforts. If they even, I don't even think they care that I exist, but let's just say they did notice my existence, they would be pleased with me making an attempt, and then I could have left on good terms. Now I don't know if I left on good terms, probably not. My manager is, he's very sensitive, he's very emotionally driven, he's very fragile, he's got like this ego thing going on. It's really weird, but that's not really the problem I had with him. Anyways, I don't know that I left on good terms. I should have just stuck to the 2 weeks notice, put in my best efforts, faked it until I made it, stopped telling the truth, which is very hard, but doable. Yes, I can suspend my innate tendency to just let it all rip. I could have reined that shit in a little bit, and I just could have hung in there for 2 weeks. Instead, I suspended my 2 weeks notice and said, oh, I'll go until January 1st, and that was a mistake. That put me into a spot where I kind of put an immovable force against an unmovable object, or however that saying goes, and then that just, everything went off the rails, and then, I don't know, my boss got his feelings hurt and mouthed off to me, and then I don't take that. It's just not going to happen. You know, you can run that way with a lot of people, and they'll just kind of swallow it and just say what they're saying in their mind and not say it out loud and be like, oh, you dick, and then just kind of think it to themselves and then just be like, yes, sir, and go back to work. But with me, I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I don't think so. Try that with your children. And so he didn't like that, and that's whatever. He didn't fire me on the spot for that. No, after he got that attitude in me and I just asked him if he was finished, and he said something smart and then said, and then you may go do XYZ. I just said, okay, packed up all my things, and left. And when he saw me loading my things in my car and asked, am I leaving? He said, are you leaving? I basically just asked him in exchange, like, I answered his question with a question, which is a dick move. Yes, that is an asshole thing to do. I was an asshole, sure. I'm going to be an asshole. I said, are you surprised that I'm leaving? And then he said no and started mouthing off about, okay, bye-bye then, blah, 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 blah. But I was done with that dude. You know, he's the kind of guy that's a lot like a Tootsie Pop. Touching my phone again to make sure it doesn't go into standby. He's the kind of guy that's like a Tootsie Pop. You know, you lick off the sugary coating, and underneath, instead of a Tootsie Roll, is just a piece of shit. And I've met a lot of dudes like him. He's like a dime a dozen. And for all I know, I'm like a dime a dozen to other people. You don't know what you don't know after all. But attitude notwithstanding, the dude was a shit manager. So even if he was the nicest guy on the planet, he couldn't fucking find his ass with both hands. You know, and that place has been really sliding downhill the last couple weeks since he fully took over, and I'm just not going to be there for that. I'll do anything you ask me to. I will clean up the puke of a child. I will wipe the diarrhea shit off the wall as if an old person has a colostomy bag explode. I'm okay with hard work, and I'm okay with shitty tasks. I really am. And honestly, there's not much you can't ask me to do that I won't do. Or at least I'll try my best and ask for help if I can't do it on my own. I'm a team player. But what I'm not is somebody else's whipping boy, and what I'm not is somebody else's scapegoat. And at the end of the day, when you're doing so much, putting yourself on the line and generally just being abused, I know this is a very millennial thing to say, but like, the compensation does not match the task. You can go to McDonald's right now, starting in a place like Florida here where I live, and make exactly as much as I was making. And the difference between McDonald's and where I was working, at McDonald's you run the risk of giving somebody indigestion. Where I work, the wheel comes rolling off the car and they get in an accident and die, now we're liable. Not only can I get fired, I can get sued. I can go to jail for negligence. People's lives are literally put in our hands for the same amount of money that somebody would make pumping a Frosty into a cup. Now you make that make sense. Who's needed? The fast food junk seller? The fat salesman? Or the guy who's basically keeping your car running so that you can have a life and go to work? And if need be, go to another fast food chain if McDonald's drops off the face of the earth tomorrow. Who's more important? Yeah? And how many people do they have lined up to take my place? I don't think that I'm indispensable. I know for a fact that I didn't know anything coming in there like 45 days ago. I didn't know anything. That company trained me from the ground up. So if it wasn't for their patience in teaching me, I wouldn't know the things I know right now, and I wouldn't have been able to do my job. So they're a great company insofar as they gave me resources to go from 0 to 60 like a drag car. It was impressive like how well put together it was for me to get experienced people to take me under their wing and get me to work. And I love the experience, I love the work, and for the most part, again, I love my customers. But the management is just trash. They can't fucking find their ass with both hands, like I said earlier. And I know I'm repeating myself. I'm a little frazzled right now. I just became unemployed. By my own hand, yes, but it was coming either way. I put in my 2 weeks notice because I saw the writing on the wall. I allowed myself to be talked out of it, but I kind of talked myself out of it, really. And I shouldn't have done that. I should have just adhered to it. And I really don't give a shit what this does to my resume. I don't care what my future employees think seeing this incident on my paperwork. And honestly, if you were to watch this as my future employer, I'm here to tell you. I'm going to be honest with you, too. And you might not like what you hear. But what you have are facts. Okay? I'm going to come to work for you, and I will do all the dog, dirty, hard work that you want me to do, and I'll start at entry level knowing that I'm not experienced enough to be worth any more than that, and I'll take that, and I'll run with it, and I'll ask you for all the hours you'll give me. I'll work 60 hours for you. I will, like, bleed for you. I got bloody knuckles, like, not right this second, but, you know, cracking my knuckles inside the bay of a car. I'll wrench for you, I'll clean for you, I'll carry heavy loads for you. But you're not going to put me underneath some incompetent shithead and have him ruin my experience and ruin my opportunities because you can't find somebody better. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. You could have made me the store manager and you would have had the same result as this clusterfuck over in the corner. The only thing he had that I didn't was access codes to software that I didn't have. If you would have gave me his tools and 3 or 4 days of like training at some seminar, you wouldn't have even noticed the difference. It would have been a speed bump in a parking lot before you got back on the road and you were making the same amount of money as you would have under this idiot. And I'm not saying that because I'm an egotistical psycho. I'm saying that as stupid and inexperienced as I was, as flawed as I am, as a little bit bent in the head as I am, I'm still better than the dinosaur that you managed to dig up in some parking lot up north and then bring all the way down here and then shit on our lap like some kind of sick porn. I mean, really. It's messed up. And I'll just go back to driving for Uber short term and I'll get another job within a week or two of getting back from my fucking vacation that I'm not even looking forward to anymore at this point because I'm so stressed out. And I'll get paid the same as I was getting paid here, and I'll probably have the same opportunities because people like me that are willing to work and do anything we're asked aren't a dime a dozen. Assholes who think they know everything and think they know what's best and that they know what they're doing are a dime a dozen. And my self-doubt is better for you than some self-assured, cocky, carpet-bagging New York fuck who thinks that he's hot shit. And all he ever does is spend his entire day reminiscing about the glory times up north, about how everything's different, and how we did it like this up there, we did it like that down here. Guess where you are right now? Not up there. Improvise, adapt, and overcome, yeah? Fuck, dude. Guess whose birthday it was today? Or was it yesterday? I don't know. Marine's birthday just happened. Improvise, adapt, and overcome seems to be a great mindset for people to, you know, adopt. Get shit done. Instead of being fucking idiots. Something to think about. And if for some reason that I can't fathom, my one-time employer comes across this little chestnut, all I have to say is I'm honestly going to miss working for you guys, even though the white-collar branch of your outfit is just all jacked up. You guys really, I don't know what you're going to do. I'd still work for you while you were burning ship. I would be the rat that didn't swim off. Because I liked the challenge. I liked the work. I liked the customers. I liked the pressure of solving problems on the fly and knowing that everything was improvised every minute of every day, because it really reminded me of being self-employed. Because we have no bosses that know what the hell they're doing. I really am going to miss you. And honestly, I'd still recommend Tire Choice to people who need tires and mechanical work done and maintenance. The work part of it's great. company can't run itself, hey, you know, corporates chop their nose off to spite their face all the time. That's what happens when you don't have a practical job and you don't know what hourly life is like, and you just live in this world detached from the blue-collar sector. And whatever. Somebody's got to do it, and us blue-collar people don't want your jobs because look at how miserable you guys are. We make as much as you sometimes. What's in it for us? So I guess stay special, stay classy, stay golden, and I'm sorry I didn't adhere to my initial 2 weeks notice and that I left you in a bit of a bind. I don't really give a shit about my store manager. That dude can fucking basically choke on shit and die. But I didn't want to do that to my parent company. But I'm also not going to stand there and be verbally abused by a fucking cockwit who's out doing work in the shop when we have customers out front. And I can be out doing work in the shop because he has more customer experience than I have. So why the fuck is he out in the shop and has me out front when we're trying to fucking finish out the day? I mean, think about it. If the dude was worth 1/2 of a squirrel's nutsack, he would have taken the desk and forced me out there to fucking run the tire machine, which I'm pretty good at by now. And he would have done the customers better service that way. And I care more about them than I care about my dignity. I care more about them than I care about, you know, where I find myself. Because with the customers, I have money in my pocket. With no customers, what is that company going to pay me with? Farts? Just something to think about. Look at your employers. Look at who you work for. And start asking yourself some interesting questions. You should be working 60 hours a week if you don't have a family waiting at home for you. And even if you do, maybe you should consider doing it anyways, because you're going to get old and be too old to work at some point. And if you think the government's going to pay for your retirement, you are so wrong. So wrong. I've lived on a full government check. It's not enough. You will be homeless in your retirement years. So you should give 110% to your employer, but you should also choose who you give that 110% to very carefully. Because if they're not taking care of you, and they're putting fuckwits over you that can't find their ass with both hands, and you're working in that environment, then all your best efforts are basically just fucking giving hand jobs to crackheads on the street. That's about how much your work matters, if you're working for a dipshit outfit. So really think about it. The shop I worked for was left to die. We got nothing. Anything we ordered would be weeks getting to us. Oh, a customer's tires or a mechanical part needed to do a job to make the company money would be there the same day. If we need paper towels to fucking wipe our hands with after we take a shit, or toilet paper to wipe our asses with while we're taking a shit, weeks. Weeks. Garage doors are jacked up. We have trouble opening and closing them. We open and close at night. Months. Months. We need more technicians and another person to help with the desk work so that we can focus on getting the customers' tickets completed. Years. Years. And the turnover rate is insane. Now, the work that gets done in these shops, any location you go to for pretty much, in any instance, any Monroe shop you go to in the country, like, they do really good work. It's just that the people that make the most sense are listened to the least. And the people that suck off the higher-ups the hardest are the ones that get the biggest money shot to the face. And by that, I mean the biggest paycheck. I know. I'm getting a little sloppy with my analogies, but I wasn't planning on being out of a job today, so I'm a little bit out of sorts. And I started drinking as soon as I got home, because why wouldn't I? Now, I'm going to take a shower and get cleaned up tonight and get some good bed rest, if my girlfriend lets me. I hope she will. I hope she'll understand. I hope she'll empathize. And then in the morning, I'm going to go clean out my car really good, and I'm going to go clock in for Uber and drive until the time that we leave to go on this increasingly dolorous vacation, so that I have my bills paid while we're out of town. And then as soon as I get back, it'll be 60, 70-hour weeks again to catch up for this Yuletide season. Don't stop working hard. Just be very judicious on who you're working hard for, huh? Don't be like me. And for God's sakes, don't fucking tell the truth like me. Let me be your truth-telling Jesus. Let me be put up on the cross for saying what we're all thinking, because I'm going to do it anyway. Stay out of trouble. That's my job.